how do you approach parents or just a random stranger who isn't familiar with what your school's like?
Yeah, it depends on where they're coming from, I suppose, what their concern is. So we would start there with what the question. We had an open day yesterday, for example. So a lot of those questions came up yesterday with people just new to the concept or exploring the concept. And so, some of the typical questions are even recognizing their own conditioning as parents and recognizing that while they're attracted to maybe the freedom for their child in this model of education, they're concerned about learning the basics. So the reading and writing is the question that we most often get asked, or at a younger age, or with older students, the concern is how will they then move on into further education or higher education, or how will they, sort of find an occupation or a career, how will they progress in the world as adults. And I think our society, we're so conditioned, really, aren't we, to see the requirement, or to perceive that there's a requirement for instruction in order for a child to sort of reach maturity or gain those skills. And so for parents to find the trust in that process again, that can be quite challenging, I think, for some parents. So really what we do is, I suppose, listen to their specific concerns and then try and address whatever their concern is by showing them examples of how that's done differently, or how in our experience, or what we've seen, or how we see children grow and learn in other ways, and try and challenge or get underneath some of those assumptions that our society has conditioned us to believe.
Right.
I think we use some kind of helpful analogies as well sometimes. One of the ones I think that's been very helpful over the years is when we think about very young children or infants, that we don't necessarily have to put them into a learning curriculum for learning how to walk and learning how to talk. That can be a really powerful just concept for parents to just think about, or to help them shift their concept a little bit. But that for some reason at the age of 4, we think, or we're trained, or we're conditioned to believe that at that point children can't have agency over their learning anymore, and all of a sudden they need an adult to tell them what they need to learn and how they need to learn it. So those kind of things that kind of maybe open up the concepts of education a little bit for parents have been helpful, I think. As well, we point them to other resources and people who've done a lot of research on different styles of learning, and in particular self-directed education. So there's thankfully an abundance of information available on the internet, and some psychologists and other scientists and other people, I suppose, that would have clout maybe in the academic world, or people would respect their opinion because of their various accreditations or whatever. So that can really help, I think, for parents to see it as a thing that has been researched and there's been examples of it happening throughout a period of time over the last number of years, that it's not just some completely left field experimental.
What's also been useful, I think, is other parents. So as we've grown, we're only in existence 6 years now in this school, but already there's a community, and so there are parents with some experience, and their children are growing up in this model and in this school. And that's really helpful for parents to share that kind of experience with other parents with younger children, or with older children who have these concerns. And I think that lends confidence. People can gain confidence from being part of, they're not alone, and so it can feel less isolating, and it's shared, so I think that's very helpful, certainly here.
This is the Agentic Schools Podcast, where you will learn about schools from around the world where children's agency to make decisions about their learning and living is more important than their academic skills. I'm your host, Don Berg.